Okay, we're live. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 199 of the Security Podcast here at the In30 Network. And I always forget to say that. But anyway, I'm Haim Cohen. We have Tom right over on that side. Down
Hello,
there.
everyone.
I wish I can do the arrows correctly to where you're going to be.
I'm somewhere around here. Yeah.
I'd never be able to be a good weather person because I would never know where to point. Like I would always be standing in front of it. But anyway, I just want to say this is episode 199. Now you don't divide by 4. We didn't do 52 shows a year, but we are getting up there. This is 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
But if it was 10 years, we can actually get the first Hangout video and compare it to this Hangout video and do the 10-year photo challenge.
So this is the first I'm hearing about this because I don't have a Facebook account. I deleted mine years and years ago, probably actually before we started this show. It just annoyed me, so I deleted it one day, and my life has been better since. So what is this 10-year photo challenge?
So basically, it was get a photo, get your profile photo from 10 years ago, and compare it to this one. And it didn't have to be necessarily profile photo, but try to get something that shows how you've aged. So if you were in the same spot 10 years prior. So I was at the Channel opening between London and Paris, like 3 months after it opened back in, I don't know, like 1998. And then I went right before it changed stations. Like I was on the last train, one of the last train cars out of the station. And we took the same picture. Like I would post that and say, here's my 10-year challenge, even though it was like 15 or 20 years. But you would just show 10 years and you would post it and people would comment on how you've aged or not aged. And I saw that and I said, there is no way I'm doing this, no matter what people think.
So this seems to me like a plot by Facebook to try to find those people that are actually secretly immortal. Like Sir Patrick Stewart or Keanu Reeves, who we all know are ageless and timeless.
Correct. I mean, we hated Keanu Reeves from the beginning, right? I mean, that's what everyone tells me.
I've pictures of, a Keanu Reeves type person, in the 1900s. It's very, very odd.
So I saw this and I said, because look, I care enough about security. But again, still have a Facebook, still post some of the memes over there. But I look at it and I say, this is just training Facebook's AI. Like this is all it is. We are literally giving them AI data that nobody else has to do. They couldn't pay some intern to get this. You're giving it to them and you're hashtagging it, whatever, 10-year photo challenge or whatever it is. It couldn't be made easier.
Yeah, but I mean, that said, they have your profile photo from 10 years ago for most of their users. Right? I can't even say most. For a lot of their users, a sizable portion have had their Facebook account for 10 years. They can just go back and pull that. Now, that said, for anyone new, for anyone who hasn't had an account for 10 years, this is actually pretty valuable training data. I would love to get my hands on this data set so I can make an actual aging model. Like, take my face now and using that same model, age me another 10 years. What happens? What do I look like? Is the model going to be any good? Yeah, who knows? But it's data, and you can use data for fun, interesting projects.
I mean, when you have kids, the first thing you do is you take a picture of the kid as a baby in the hospital and saying, welcome to the world, so-and-so. So they have it as a baby. Now, babies are hard to age immediately because we don't know. They have an idea, but it's very hard. But as you go through the profile pictures, and this is what I do, I be careful of the pictures I post of my kids, especially when not in public. In public, I can't stop it. And I just don't want to give Facebook this data that they can use. And I feel like this is a very simple SQL command. Just select anything with the hashtag 10-year photo challenge and feed into machine and let it go.
It is super, super convenient to have the data, parsed out like this with a hashtag. That said, it's not always like machine learning can get messy. Data sets are messy. And it's not as trivial as just taking all the photos and feeding them into the system, right? There does have to be an amount of curation and an amount of dirty data tolerances, right? So if like me, if I still had a Facebook account, I would post like probably Ringo from the Beatles. And it's like, yeah, this was me 10 years ago, and here's me now, like a picture of Superman or something. Just being an idiot. Or me photoshopping all my hair out or something. So yeah, you will get some data that's not perfectly usable for your machine learning.
So if you're not watching the video, you haven't met me in person. Everyone says they do a double take and I look like Adam Sandler. I don't specifically see it, but people have come up to me and stopped me and said this. So one of my friends did the 10-year photo challenge of me holding my cupcake, which is actually probably 10 years ago at this point. I think it's 8 years ago. And a picture of Adam Sandler from currently. And they're posting that everywhere. So I get the gaming of the system, but I did laugh. And then you have the memes of the construction projects that are 10 years old and nothing has happened. Traffic from 10 years ago versus traffic now. I love that. Or Facebook 10 years ago where it was the Facebook. And so the memes are definitely going. But the point is, Wired had an article where we linked in the show notes basically saying, is this a fun game? Which, I mean, if it was not Facebook, if it was Twitter even, I would say yes, this is a fun game. But this is Facebook, and I think everyone at this point has said, we should really look at what Facebook is doing. And I just can't do it just because of that, because I don't trust Facebook enough to say this is just not fun.
Yeah, I do think people are freaking out because it is associated with Facebook in any way. That said, they have shown time and time again that they will go back through people's photo libraries and apply different filters and algorithms to them. I remember when I was still back on Facebook, they went through and started retroactively tagging people in your photos. They introduced this tagging feature. They could tag people in photos, and they would do some sort of facial recognition to go back in time and say, oh, hey, this photo from like 6 years ago or from yesterday before we launched this feature, is this you? And they have absolutely dug into their historical photo library for their users to use in ways like this. Now, is this nefarious? I personally don't think so. They already have access to most of that data from a decent chunk of their users. Does this make their machine learning algorithms easier? Maybe it could, but they've already got so much data that it probably doesn't really matter. So doing this or not doing it, probably not going to have an impact.
I mean, look, Google does this every once in a while. I get they grow up so fast when referring to the kids timeline of the faces and the pictures and this and that. But again, it goes by that I really don't trust Facebook, and so I just get a little uneasy when I see this. I don't really think they're doing anything with it, but it's just one of those, they could be, so why make it easy? So
yeah. I know we didn't have this on the show roll, but I recently got back from vacation, and a lot of my family brought up, as they did last year, the fact that Facebook is hot micing them and listening to every conversation they're having, which isn't true. It's not even remotely true. That would drain your phone's battery really quickly, and if you're on a data cap, it's shot. Like within hours, it's shot if they're transmitting high fidelity audio back to Facebook's home base. But we worked through the details because they got ads for custom countertops when none of them had posted anything online about shopping for custom countertops to redo their kitchen. And they were freaked out. It was creepy. These targeted ads are, sometimes really unnerving. Now, are they more likely to buy countertops from this company that threw them the ads? No, they're severely creeped out by this company now. But we traced it back to the fact that a family member who lives in the same household actually visited this store in person with their phone in their pocket while Facebook was watching their location data. And this place does custom countertops and other like kitchen refinement type stuff, home improvement projects. So yeah, there's a lot of different signals that Facebook and other ad tech companies will use to try to figure out what to sell you and what to target towards you. Uh, they are not hot micing your phone. That's just not a thing.
Well, I mean, you hear that
Yeah.
Facebook is hot micing them, but you hear about all the other companies also, all the circular assistants. And I go, again, they're not going to, even Facebook won't go that far to lose your trust because then really people would leave.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say Facebook wouldn't ever hot mic someone, but it's just not feasible at this point. Facebook has 1 billion users, right? That's 1/7 of the world's population uses Facebook. They don't have the technical capability. Like Facebook is a massive technical enterprise. They don't have enough machines. They don't have enough server power in the world to hot mic and successfully analyze literally everyone's voice data from being hot mic'd 24/7. It just doesn't happen.
And it's somebody in the group, like you said, is the culprit for this. It's not like when you ever played the Ouija board back when you were a little kid and you said, how is this moving by itself? Somebody is moving it. Somebody visited the store. Somebody searched for it. They linked you from here and there. Again, I don't have the Facebook app on my phone. What I do is I go to the mobile site, which I highly, highly recommend. It takes all those creepy permissions out and it's a little harder to use, but saves your battery. It does a lot of other stuff, but it also gets rid of those signals unless you give it location access, which I usually don't. And it will go from there. If you do Google reward services, like when you fill out the surveys, it asks you every time you go somewhere, did you go here? How did you pay? Because it's trying to grab those signals. And again, your location, everything else, it's pinging the phone because you're either open on Facebook. Remember, when you're open on Facebook, it is using the location to figure out where you are. So
yeah,
it's again, would you rather denture ads or would you rather these targeted advertisements? And it's always a hard question to have because the denture ads are completely irrelevant. I may find a random product that's pretty cool if I allow the targeted ads.
Yeah, I've never had a good experience with targeted ads. Usually it's a so I do a lot of tech work. I'm in the technology field. This is what I do each and every day. I will get tech ads for companies and products that I know are just awful. They're terrible. They don't do the things that they say. They promise the world and then they deliver nothing. And I will get ads for these companies constantly. I'm like, you are targeting towards the wrong person because I know what this company is. I know what this product actually is. People are starting to see the cracks in the targeted ad sculptures. We're starting to see the efficacy and whether or not targeted ads are more or less successful than just shotgun blasting ads out to the masses. And, I think that targeted ads are just going to die off, which means, horrifying things to companies like Facebook and Google, which makes it their entire business model.
I'm sure they'll figure out a way. I mean, do you use Instagram?
I do not.
Okay, so I use it. I used to use Instagram very, very sporadically. And then my sister said, can I tag you and stuff? And I said, yeah, whatever. I don't even have the app on my phone. Like, sure, I'll get hundreds and hundreds of notifications. So apparently us millennials are using it as QVC. We are looking and we are buying all these random products on Instagram. Like they have like literal buy now buttons. That's going to be the next thing. So what you have to do now is you find a post that you like from some designer company. They will take you to their website and you buy it. I'm sure the next step of that is for Facebook, who owns Instagram, to put a buy now and charge them a percentage. Or if you're going to do these sorts of advertisements, they're going to start charging businesses to advertise, and they'll give them some business console and all this. They're going to move away from them doing the advertising to you doing the advertising. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting for sure.
So again, it's so the whole ramification of this is just be careful with the Facebook questions that ask you this, because the 50 questions, have you ever done this? They're just trying to get data from you, and you'd be surprised how much data they can get based on those answers. The 10-year profile pictures, the have you ever done this, or what have you done in high school? All those little things people do use, and it's surprising how much information they can find.
And if your friends and family ask, no, Facebook is not listening to you, but they are watching where you sleep.
Yes. Okay, the next story, or we're going to talk about watching you. We'll skip and we'll just add. Apparently, the Weather Channel and the Weather Channel app did a big, huge no-no. And in their app, they were tracking your data after you close the app. So when you have the weather app, it asks, hey, do you want your location so we can pull up the weather? Yeah, I really do want that. That's basically the only thing I really want.
It's a very useful feature.
Like, I don't want to give you my home and work. I just want you to tell me the weather where I literally am right now. Because it doesn't matter in Mountain View or New York City or in Houston what the weather is. I want to know what it is right here in central New Jersey. So, but apparently when you were closing the app, it didn't actually turn off the location tracking, and they took that and they sold it to presumably that custom counters cabinet company, who then bought ads.
Yep. So this is getting to be more common. Apps monetizing, especially free apps, monetizing themselves by constantly watching your location data, which, by the way, drains your battery. Even if you don't care about privacy, you care about your battery life, surely. But they're constantly pinging and watching your location data and selling that off to aggregators, advertisers, and people who just enjoy collecting people's location data. This is shady. Yes, this was in the terms of service, kind of buried, that they can use the location data you give them for other purposes other than just delivering you the weather. But there is now a lawsuit. It's we'll have to see what happens with this. I really, really want them to get to absolutely lose this case. The Weather Channel. I would like the Weather Channel to lose this case. I have to be clear. Because purporting, telling users that we need your location data to show you the weather is one thing, right? Totally reasonable. Totally get it. That it's absolutely a valid use case to use a GPS. Turning around and selling that data to the highest bidder, that's not okay. That is absolutely shady. Now, if they came up and they said, hey, this is how this app is going to make money, we're going to sell your location data to other people, it would be okay, right? It's the expectation and the absolute, basically ignoring user expectations that I have a problem with.
So it's unfortunately, you know how this is going to go. Nothing is going to happen. Like now when we get these data breaches, we don't even get the free year of credit monitoring. It just tells you to watch your credit history and you get your 3 websites and this is how you do it and nothing else. So I have a feeling nothing will happen. And it just goes back to the hashtag nobody cares. Nobody cares about any of this.
If you would like to personally protest this, you can go ahead and take your Weather Channel app and uninstall it immediately. That will stop their data collection and stick it to the man, the Weather Man.
Yeah. And the only job where you can be wrong and still get paid.
Yep.
So if you're a teacher, I'm a teacher, there's a software called Remind. So Remind is a one-way text message functionality where the students can join my quote-unquote class and I can send them announcements and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I really just use the announcements feature to give them announcements. And they can get it as a text message. They can get it in the app. They can get it as an email. There's a whole bunch of good uses for this. And the company Remind started as a bunch of Silicon Valley bigwigs, executives, had kids, and they were just trying to get information, and somebody had this problem, and they said, you know what, we're going to self-fund this. We have this money. Let's just make this app. We'll make a little company. It'll cost us some money, but you know what? We get these announcements, so we don't have to listen to the radio, whether the school's closed for weather, earthquake, or rain, or snow, whatever it is. And they did it. I like the app. I don't, like I said, I don't use all the features, but apparently Verizon is designating just them, just Remind, their text messages as spam, and will increase the cost to send these text messages, but what they quote 11 times. I don't know if it's 11 times 1 cent, but even if it is, that's a lot of money. And Remind says, well, we cover the cost now to whatever, but it's going to increase to a point that we can't do it. So we're just going to stop sending to Verizon people, my initial thought was, if this is not a net neutrality violation, then what is? Because like we said before, net neutrality is very hard to define. This looks like a clear-cut case. So I asked on the internet some people, and the author of this Ars Technica article, John Brodkin, said 2 things. One, it is almost a net neutrality violation, but 2, they moved the goalpost. Text messages are no longer part of telecommunications, so they can do that. And in the show notes, there's an article about it, but it's just really terrible that this is what's going on.
Yeah. So my initial gut reaction is that it's a similar issue, but it's not net neutrality. Mostly because telecommunications and net neutrality need to be looked at as separate things. They share a lot of the common arguments and the common problems of net neutrality and telecommunication neutrality, but they're not exactly regulated in the same way. They're 2 really, really different playing fields. Now, the whole reason Verizon is going to charge these people is, probably either the mass amount of text messages were causing congestion in the network and it just popped up on the radar. They said, wow, this looks like spam. Or they said, wow, here's some people who are, using and what we would consider abusing our text message system. Let's make some money off of this. So I don't want to put words in Verizon's mouth. I don't know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but there are several reasons why, this sort of investigation, at the very least, would be legitimate. Now, classifying them as spam, absolutely not. Remind isn't selling anything, right? They're not saying, hey, click on this link and buy this stuff from us, right? It's absolutely not spam. If they wanted to charge usage fees or expanded usage fees for heavy consumers, okay, I could see that argument a little better. But the fact that they're lumping this into fighting SMS spam seems like a really bad PR answer to try to get, average people off their back.
So Remind uses Twilio, which I guess is a phone messaging service. Yep. You can probably go more into that. And that's what they're using. They do have a premium service, which I was just actually looking into, where like a superintendent or a principal can call the entire district. They have voicemails, things like that. But so do other companies like Blackboard for colleges and Sakai. And now I'm dating myself, but they have all these messaging services. So our school district basically said, you know what, we really just don't care. Find another way to deal with this. And the short answer is you can use your email or you can use the app, which is not the best solution because unfortunately text messaging for the time being is still king.
Yeah, I am not a fan of text messaging. I actually, amazingly enough, just got, because I don't use my real phone number. I have a Google Voice number that I filter everything through. I got actual, real, legit SMS spam to my phone number. And what impressed me even more is that inside of my standard SMS app on my Pixel phone, it has a report spam button. And then I got a text message from T-Mobile saying, hey, thanks for letting us know on that report. We'll follow up on it. I didn't realize these controls were in place because I just don't use SMS. It's kind of nice to see that we're, fighting spam on all fronts. It's bad that, this is even a problem, right? But it's nice to see that there are some amount of compensating controls in place.
Well, from last week's episode, I really did install Android messages. And like you said, I don't get any real SMS anymore, at all. But But I'm hoping that RCS, which is the Android and carriers version of iMessage, really ramps up and picks up, because Android Messages is really cool. It's not encrypted. We talked about this. You might as well just use WhatsApp for everything. But it is a pretty nifty feature. Same desktop type client, same emojis, same stickers, same everything you can have on your phone and on your desktop. Not encrypted, which is the problem. But you know what? If you are a big text message user, check it out, because it actually has done it. If you are a big text message user, also find a way to get off. Please, we're begging you. Just let's kill SMS once and for all, and let just companies send you messages and, unfortunately, text message verification codes.
Yeah, the whole reason I'm anti RCS is that Google had the ability to be a real force for change in the industry, right? They control Android, right? They control one of the largest platforms of mobile devices that the world has ever seen. And they had the ability to say, hey, here's RCS. It's end-to-end encrypted. It has all these features. It's really easy to use. It's super easy to onboard people with. We're going to push the industry towards this secure alternative. Instead, they stopped when they got a third of the way done with the spec. They said, yeah, this looks good enough. We'll push this. And because it's going to be decentralized, because it's going to go to the hands of the carriers to implement, it'll never get updated. Once it's pushed the first time, it will sit there and die. It's just like XMPP or any other federated protocol. You have to get everything perfectly right the first time, because evolving that protocol just won't happen.
Google had Hangouts or Google Talk, I guess it was awesome. It worked. It was fast. It was everything I wanted it to be. Hangouts was clunky, but you know what? It worked. And it just worked. It was getting slower and slower. Then they pushed out all this other stuff. And I still go back to Hangouts just works everywhere. It works on my phone. It works on my tablet. It just works. And like WhatsApp, my wife uses her iPad. WhatsApp doesn't work on the iPad. She leaves her phone downstairs. Hangouts, it works. And I don't know why we couldn't just get that working. It did SMS. It did everything. And now apparently it's going to the enterprise. I don't know why, but it's going to the enterprise. We don't know.
I wish I knew.
So
it's like one of the great mysteries of humankind. It's like, you look at all this list of giant science questions, like, how could, these weird worm creatures live on geothermal energy? And how did they evolve to get this way? And where did we come from? And what's our place in the universe? And why does Google keep reinventing the text message? Like, these are the things humanity is concentrating on solving right now. And we are not even close to solving that Google question.
And so we moved to WhatsApp, and look, I'm having fun with it. I like it. I think it's excellent. It's inside its end-to-end encryption. Yes, Facebook is going to monetize it. Facebook is going to do all these creepy things, but I know that my communication to you is at least secure.
Yeah, they know we're talking, right? They can see the envelope. They can't see inside it, which I'm sure will be solved in time. It's not a trivial problem, but yeah, we'll see where Open Whisper Systems and Moxie Marlinspike get to. I'm sure they're working on this problem right now.
So the last thing comes from WhatsApp. So we talk about that Inside is using the Open Whisper Systems, the Signal protocol. But now here's a design issue that they had. What happens if you either switch phone numbers or you want to install WhatsApp or Signal on a new phone? So Signal says it's a new phone. You have to go through this process of deregistering and registering. It forces you to do it. And if you don't do it, it causes a lot of problems. Like, you won't get your text messages. Sometimes I had to initiate text messages to get it to do it. I can't tell you definitively how to exactly transfer phone numbers to make sure everything works. It is a problem, but it's for security. WhatsApp says, we're going to try and handle this. So if you get a new phone, you put it in, you can just start over, because it sends you your verification code. It says it verifies you. The problem is they're recycling phone numbers. You decommission your phone number. Probably 3 or 4 months later, it's being used by somebody else. And they're able to see all the old WhatsApp messages because they didn't delete them, because you didn't tell WhatsApp that you were switching phone numbers. And that's a problem. But WhatsApp said, you know what? This happening, the few times that it does is better than what Signal does, which is just doesn't let you do anything and causes a lot more aggravation. Again, it's a design choice to make it more convenient, not more secure.
Yeah, that's always the battle, right? Are you going to make things super easy for the end user? Well, yeah, they might not be secure. Are you going to make things super secure for the end user? Yeah, it's not going to be the easiest thing to use. And hitting that balance is what the best security companies in the world try to do. And it's not easy, right? I'm not even going to pretend it's easy. And there are very, very few things that are easier for the end user and more secure, right? Like one of them that comes off the top of my head is that, password managers, right? Like the initial onboarding is a little bumpy, right? It's a little annoying. You've got to open up this thing to log into websites now. But at the end of it, right? I don't type any passwords. I log in once and now everything is unlocked to me. The world is my kingdom and I can go anywhere and log into anything. I don't have to remember any passwords except the one. Super lazy, super secure. It's really hard to find things that do that. And in this fight, it's going to be around forever.
So, and again, it's so WhatsApp, you decommission, you get a new phone number, but you don't tell WhatsApp that you're leaving, so it stores it. Signal doesn't store it. The problem is that when you get that phone number back or you get a new one, it causes an account jam, and we have problems. So WhatsApp took I don't want to say the lazy way, they just took a different way to solve it. And it does leak some privacy information. But again, you know that going in. If you want absolute bulletproof security, you have to deal with Signal. If you want the contents to be encrypted, WhatsApp is the way to go. And if you want nothing, go use SMS.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it for our show. We are done. We are over. I guess we will see you next week.
We will be there.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
See ya.